Greetings everyone, my name's FlareBlitzed here and welcome back to Fatal 12. In the last time, it was the most intense round in the Court of Fate so far, with two possible people having the chance to be eliminated by other participants. That's the word. I was supposed contestants and participants, but they're both the same thing really. And it was a threat that Miharu was going to be eliminated by Scale himself. But the opportunity arose when Frederico and Miharu both elected for Odette, and Frederico had the priority because he elected two of his cards over Miharu's one. Well played, Odette Malakon. Alan speaks for himself inside the storehouse. He figured that Odette had already obtained Frederico's information. However, she opted to accept death over using the information to protect herself from his election. Frederico's realization after the fact would leave him perplexed and aware that he would never surpass her. Had she opted to protect herself, then he would have likely backed down in order to avoid revealing his regret when taking into consideration that Miharu Habanata had also elected her. On the off chance he did decide to reveal his regret, someone could easily elect him the week after. Odette opted not to pursue that possibility. Instead, she was content in deciding her own fate. Her death was a gallant one. Her way of life may have differed from the ideal Alan pursued, but it merited respect nonetheless. Gallant in death, huh? Alan had been opposed to the concept up until now. He is a firm believer in approaching everything from a logical perspective. Emotions have no place when it comes to actions. Doing so would blur the concept of a black and white world. In its place would be an ambiguous reality and the results of actions taken. He relinquished the name given to him by his parents in order to emancipate himself from his past. In its place he chose an Alan Scorpion, a name one wouldn't assert with his homeland of India. With a new name came the start of a new life. That's what he decided. He would use his name to bind himself and build up a massive fortune as a jeweler. Yet those actions of mine were fueled by nothing beyond the emotion he believed was unnecessary. The name that he picked for himself because one he cannot abandon. Its appearance on his name card is proof of that.
僕自身が人一倍感情的だからこそ意図的に感情を捨てようとしていたなどあの女性の言葉を否定できないな。
That woman claimed that my own emotional state led to my forced discarding of such emotions. Perhaps she was right. You're desperate, aren't you? Kaika said as much to him before her elimination. He may have laughed it off, but he couldn't ignore his irritation as he elected her. She saw straight through him. He knew this, and yet made every effort to pretend otherwise. Alan is desperate to live.
Shishimai Rinka.
Shishimai Rinka. The look in her eyes pushes him forward. Alan has already lost divine selection. He has fully come to this realization. That alone isn't enough to make him give up on life, however. I'm the one who said it after all. The numerous lies that have come to an end thus far have begun to stir his emotions. And now we wake up with Miharu still with us. It's the morning after the 8th election. Seems like I'm the last one to wake up. Good morning, Rinka. Good morning. Based on the information given to me by Alan, Miharu and I were able to deduce Scale's cause of death and regret respectively. While we barely succeeded in turning the information into cards before midnight struck, both Miharu and Naomi stayed over once we were done. I got a futon ready so I could sleep on the floor while they used my bed. I was surprised when both of you collapsed immediately at midnight, especially since we were in the middle of a conversation. I guess that's what you meant about getting pulled into the dream world.
てていたから安心しました。てっきり悪夢に殺されている時のように
Trust us, Naomi.
寝言を言ったりしてしまうんじゃないかって
Those turns of events
心配
could
でし
be
た。
a nightmare. At least you looked like you were sleeping soundly. Part of me was worried you'd be tossing and turning like you were stuck in a nightmare.
それにこうして朝を迎えられたってことは大丈夫だったってことですから、本当に安心しました。
Of course, nothing was more of a relief than knowing you both made it through the night.
心配かけちゃってごめんね。でも言われてみれば、運命の大広間にいる時の自分の体のこと考えたこともなかったよ。
Sorry for making you worry. I gotta say, I never thought too much about what happens to our bodies when we go to the court of fate.
実際こっちの時間で何分くらいなんだろうね。時計がないから、いや、あるにはあるんだけど、わかんないね。
I'm not even sure how time passes there in relation to here, especially when there's no clock to check. Well, there is one, but it's complicated.
羊さん、僕たちは寝ている間、何事もなかったかのように寝息を立てていたのかい？
So we were sleeping like normal then?
はい、そうでした。本当に静かに普通に。
Yes, I wouldn't have suspected anything had I not known the details. Knowing Naomi watched me sleep is a bit embarrassing. I know that Miharu looks just as pretty in her sleep, but for all I know, I could look like an idiot.
とすれば、僕は女神の選定が行われている間は、現実世界で1秒も経過していないと予想するよ。
In that case, I'm willing to bet that no time passes in the real world at all while we're in a dream world.
なるほど。それだとすごく納得です。そもそも夢の世界ってもの自体が現実離れしていますもんね。
That does make sense, but now that you mention it, especially when you consider how surreal the dream world is in the first place. We agree with one another, but that doesn't mean we're right. Granted, it's hard to know when we can't directly compare the flow of time between both worlds.
とにかく土曜日の夜に先輩が来てくれて本当に良かったです。
Either way, I'm so glad you came back Saturday night, Rinka. I take this moment to recall all that we learnt yesterday. Scale Johnson studied graphic design in university while learning photography on his own time. He spent a few years working on a newspaper after graduating before he quit and became a freelance cameraman, a paparazzi rather. Apparently, there's plenty of money to make from snapping photos of celebrity scandals in America.
金メダル。未練の裏付けが先に見つかるとは思わなかった。そっちの方が苦戦するって思ってたから。
I'm honestly surprised we figured out his regret first. It seemed like the most difficult based on what we knew from my card.
彼が写真の仕事をし、過去にはデザインを学んでいたからこそ、金メダルにはコンテストという可能性などいくつも考えられたからね。
I did say in the previous episode it could be business related, but as a hobby related thing and also a profession related thing, I wasn't far off the tick there. It was easy to assume that he wanted to win a gold medal related to his old job and graphic design.
しかし、過去を消すというのは容易なことではない。インターネット上に彼が大学時代にスポーツ系クラブの写真を撮影していた記録が残っていたことが糸口になった。
Erasing one's past is no simple feat. Everything started to make sense once we figured out that he was taking photos of sports-related clubs during his college years.
アラン・スコーピオンさんから先輩の聞いた情報に、パパラッチを始める以前、スポーツカメラマンを数ヶ月やっていたというのが抜けていたことも明らかになりました。
Especially once we compared that with what Rinka learned from Alan Scorpion about his work as a sports cameraman for a few months before becoming a paparazzi.
調べてみると、ほとんど採用された写真がないみたいで、お金にならなかったってことですよね。それで、リンカ先輩がひらめいてくれました。
His photographs were rarely used based on what we looked up, so he likely didn't make much from it. That's where Rinka's quick thinking kicked in.
金メダルは難しく考えないで、スポーツのことだった。スケールさんはオリンピックで選手が金メダルを取る瞬間を撮りたかった。
That's a nice and very scary way of looking at it, Rinka. It wasn't about the medal itself, but the sports aspect. Scale wanted to capture the moment the moment someone won a gold medal at the Olympics.
そしてその写真が全国紙に掲載されることを望んでいた。今でも諦めていないから未練なんだね。
Plus, he wanted that photo to be used by a newspaper with national circulation. The fact that it's become his regret means he still hasn't given up on it. I'm not sure which piece of information was the most vital, considering just how much we strung together. Regardless, his regret card appeared in Miharu's card book.
苦戦したのは死因だったね。アランスコーピオンからリンカが聞いた情報だけでは導くことができなかった。
His cause of death is when things got tough. We never would have figured out, but based solely on Alan's information, Miharu still wouldn't be able to protect herself by this point because she already had his cause of death. But we didn't stop there. I wanted to know all this information too, just in case. I'm going to need it at some point or another anyway.
ほとんど勘に近かったね。以前別のパパラッチが芸能人とのカーチェイス中に車がスリップして事故死したっていうニュースを見つけて、それに当てはめた。
It really was down to a gut feeling once we learned about those other paparazzi that died in an accident during a cars chase.
外国はスケールが違うなって思いましたね。あ、いや、スケールっていうのはわざとじゃなくて。
Things really do work on a whole different scale abroad. No pun intended.
とにかく写真提供スケール・ジョーンズっていう記事を探して、スケールさんがパパラッチとして誰を中心に追っていたかの目星をつけました。
More importantly, we were able to figure out who Scale was targeting by searching for photos credited to him.
その女優さんはスケールさんが日本に来た後、つまり選定期間中に別のパパラッチにスキャンダル写真を撮られていた、カーチェイスの果てにね。それで確信を持てたんだよね。
The actress he was chasing was caught up in a scandal and had photos of it taken by another paparazzi who died during a car chase. While Scale was in Japan, that and the fact that it happened during divine selection served as the final puzzle piece we needed. None of it was a mere coincidence to me. Naomi and Miharu both waiting for me. My being able to bargain with Alan, and most importantly, Miharu not backing down against Odette. We were able to get all three of Scale's cards through our combined will to push forward.
もちろん油断はできない。僕はもう彼に指名をされないけれど、リンカは違う。リンカが彼に情報を知られてしまったらダメなんだ。
We can't relax yet. He might not be able to elect me now, but the same doesn't apply for you, Rinka. You can't let him get any of your info. I'm going to elect him next, but doing so could lead to my own demise if he manages to defend himself or elects me in turn. The issue here is it's entirely possible that he'll be able to gather all the information he needs.
スケールさんを脱落させるまで、先輩がおばあ様のところに行くっていうのは難しいんでしょうか。
Is it
先輩
possible?
はその方が安全じゃないんでしょうか。
Is it possible for you to stay with your gran until Scale is eliminated, perhaps? I would assume that you'd be safer that way.
私もそれを考えた。だけどスケールさんはこの場所も私のおばあちゃんの家もすぐに調べる。分かっていると思う。
That's...
危険に巻き込むことはできない。
I thought as much too, but Scale shouldn't have any issue finding both this place and where my gran is staying, so I don't want to risk getting her involved.
自覚が薄いようだけれど、羊さん、君もこれまで以上に気をつけなければならない。特に夜道で一人になることは絶対にダメだ。
You don't seem aware of this, Naomi, so let me make it clear. You should watch yourself as well, especially at night. Don't walk around alone, no matter the circumstances.
ユウの一件で、君がリンカの後輩であり、君を助けるためにユウを指名したことは知られてしまっている。
It's common
スケール
knowledge.
にとって、羊さんは人質としての価値がある。
It's common knowledge that Rinka elected you to save you, so you may find value in using you as a hostage. While a bit harsh, Miharu's right. You has no intention of electing me, but Scale could. I doubt I'll be able to persevere if he takes Naomi hostage.
はい。
I'll keep that in mind. Naomi nods, visibly shaken.
それよりさ、ミハル、ナオミ、私一つ可能性を見つけたんだ。ミハルがスケールさんからの指名を防御したのを見て思いついた。
More
防御
importantly,
されたらお互いに指名できないってルール。
more importantly, seeing Miharu protect herself from Scale's election finally helps me realize that rule could be just what we've been looking for.
つまり今残っている全員がお互いに指名をし合えば、もう誰のことをも指名できなくなる。そうすればみんな生き残れるんじゃないかな。
Should someone successfully protect themselves from election, neither participant can elect one another. So basically, if the current participants all elect one another, then there won't be any other options left. Shouldn't we all get to survive if that happens?
全員が全員を指名。
That might just be it.
リンカ、僕はその案を考えていたさ。おそらく君以外の多くの参加者も、もちろんソフィアもだ。
That's a possibility I consider myself, Rinka. The same can likely be said for the other participants, Sophia included.
でもソーニャは私たち二人に生き残ってほしいって。それで
But she's the one who said she wanted us both to survive.
全員が指名し合い防御する。この案に気づいていたからこそ、ソフィアはあえて僕たち二人が生き残る方法があると言ったんだと思っている。
I'm positive she suggested that possibility while aware of what you just said.
なぜならそんなことは不可能だからだ。選定の参加者全員が示し合わせできるはずがない。一人が防御の破壊を行えばそれで瓦解する。
Mainly because the idea of every participant going along with it is highly improbable. It's all over the moment someone deviates from the plan.
僕がこの案を話さなかったのは、君が必ず全員がみんながと言い出すと思っていたからだ。僕たちはあくまで僕たちだけが残る方法を考えるべきなんだ。
I never brought this up because I knew you would suggest that everyone take part. Right now, we should focus on finding a method that ensures only the two of us survive.
それに女神は言っていた。指名できない状態で2人以上残った時どうするかは、その時が来たら教える。
Besides, Parser said we'd find out what happens if people who can't elect one another are the only ones who remain.
それは全員が生き残ることができるってことかもしれない。
It might just mean that we all get to live.
君は女神の選定を勘違いしている。なぜなら
You seem to have a fundamental misunderstanding of divine select. Actually,
僕
forget
は
about
君
it.
の案には反対だ。
I'm opposed to it, that's all. I'm curious about what she's going to say before cutting herself off. Naomi doesn't let Miharu end a conversation though.
もう秘密はやめにしませんか。
Can we maybe stop with the secrets?
これから学校だろう。準備をしないと遅れてしまうよ。
Don't forget we still have school. Let's get ready before we're late.
ミハル。
Miharu. While she doesn't sound entirely confident, I was still surprised to hear Naomi say that. Meanwhile, Miharu does her best to appear unapproachable while getting ready. She knows something, yet she's not saying what. I'm sure she has her reasons, but...
ミハル、もうやめにしよう。私たちの間でそういうのは。
Let's stop acting like this, Miharu, especially between the three of us.
リンカ。
Rinka? I'll grab Miharu's hand as she's about to make her way downstairs. Her hand feels cold. This might be the first time I've held her hand since the time at the theme park. But now that I think about it, I can't help but think that it's far colder now than it was back then. She's taller than me, so I have to look up into her eyes. There's no need for words. Miharu looks away from me before responding.
そうだね。君は自分が納得しなかったら行動してしまう。
I guess it's for the best then, especially when you're the type to take action until you're satisfied.
けれど今時間がないのは事実だ。今日は放課後にバイトが入っているから 明日の放課後にまたライオン館で。
But we really don't have time right now. I've got work after school today. So, how about we meet here tomorrow after school?
ありがとう。ナオミもいい？
Thanks. That's fine with you, Naomi. Naomi and Miharu both nod, almost in sync. Just as I try to let go of Miharu's hand, she grabs hold of mine. I'm surprised, plus she looks deadly serious.
ただしお願いだ。僕が話しても僕のことを嫌いにならないでいてくれるかい？
I want you to promise me something, though. Don't hate me when I tell you, okay?
何があってもミハルを嫌いになるなんてないよ。
I could never hate you no matter what. Her lips quiver upon my immediate answer, almost as if she's trying to hold something back. Afterwards, the three of us head off to school. Yay!
お、珍しいね。最近ミハルンとナオリン仲良さそうだし。
Surprised to see you two getting on so well.
さあどうだろうね。もっともそもそも僕たちは険悪な仲ではないだろう。
Miharu, you can stop with the act, okay? Are we though? Your surprise may be misplaced, considering we were hardly ever on bad terms, right, Naomi?
あれ？そういえば月曜日なのに今日は早いんだね、マオ。昨日は夜更かししなかったんだ。
I think this is one of the first times the four main characters of the story are here. So speaking of surprises, you're here pretty early on a Monday. Did you not stay up late did it stay up late last night? Maybe she didn't.
さすがリータン、いいところに気づきました。
Trust Rennie to focus on the important
いや
details.
ー、セールやってたからね。50冊くらいある少女漫画を借りてきて、土曜日の夜からずーっと読んでたら朝になっても終わらなくて、結局日曜の夕方まで読んでてさ。
Turns out that shop was having a sale, so I went ahead and grabbed a 50-volume soju magazine. I spent all Saturday night reading it, but I wasn't even close to finishing by morning. That's why I ended up blasting through the rest until Sunday evening.
そしたら昨日は早く寝ちゃったってわけ。女優の話なんだけど、魔王様のおすすめ。リータンにはぜひ読んでほしいよ。
I crashed nice and early after that, and here we are. The manga's about an actress, but I totally recommend it, especially to you, Rinny. Naomi, Rinka and Miharu arrive at school together. While relatively early, it's still somewhat later than usual for Naomi. Prior to the culture festival, she would always read books on her own, but recently she's found herself talking with friends instead. Granted, she spends most of her time listening, especially regarding conversations about love and such. The little experience she does have with such topics involve a crush she may or may not have had in elementary school. Besides, Naomi cannot tolerate boys that well. The only time she felt anything toward one was when she agreed that a boy who could run fast was cool. Naomi sneaks a glance at Miharu as she speaks to Mao. Miharu is undoubtedly beautiful. Even from a fellow girl's perspective, her face can turn heads as she has the proportions of a supermodel. It's hard not want to be like her. Naomi came to learn the distinction between that feeling and love once she entered high school. Could Miharu relate to this? She may act calm when speaking to Rinka, but there are also traces of shyness. The same could be said of last night too. Naomi tried to set it up so that Miharu and Rinka could sleep together, but Miharu adamantly refused. Her face flushed. She had noticed Miharu being enamored by even the smallest of Rinka's mannerisms, though Rinka herself seems completely oblivious. From Naomi's point of view, there must be love, pure and simple. While it still be uncommon, Naomi takes no issue with two girls. She is more concerned about whether or not things will work out for Miharu. Rinka sees Miharu as a close friend. While Miharu loves Rinka from the bottom of her heart, Naomi doesn't want to see this despotically affect them in any negative way.
ナオリン、起きてる？ 心配事があるのかもしれないけど、そんな顔してちゃいいことないよ。
Earth to Naomi, something on your mind? Come on, ain't nothing gonna come from looking so miserable.
マオ先輩。
Mao? And then there's her. Naomi feels bad for Mao, considering she's been dealing with these same concerns for over a year. If they ever had the chance to talk one-on-one, Naomi wants to ask about how Rinka and Miharu first met, but at the same time, she figures that not knowing what it's like to love someone is akin to not understanding most emotions felt in the world at large. Okay? Now scale and Scale and Frederico. I make my way to the usual bar once night rolls around. My alliance with Scale still stands, but above all else, I want to know why he elected Miharu. The booze is getting to me a lot more than it usually does tonight. I didn't even bother to eat or pre-game either. I jumped right straight whiskey.
Odette マランソンの脱落についておめでとうと賛辞を送るべきかな。
Should I congratulate you on eliminating Odette? Scale sounds more arrogant than ever. He always has been like this now that I think about it.
なあ、あんたはどうしてミハルのやつを指名したんだ?
You mind explaining why you elected Miharu?
君に相談しなかったことは謝るよ。だが、ミハルヘビナタが危険だということは君も気がついていただろう。
Sorry for not talking to you about it first. You're aware of how dangerous she is, aren't you?
危険。面白いやつだと思っていたし、できれば一晩相手したかったが。
Frederico, on the other hand. Dangerous, sir. I found her to be pretty interesting. Wanted to spend a night or two, okay, but the idea of her being dangerous never crossed my mind. I've got one arm on the table with my head banging down. I take another drink. This ain't like me. Maybe because I've spent all day thinking about stuff I couldn't stop thinking about, no matter how hard I tried. Things doused in uncertainty, where a clear answer may not even exist.
予想外に彼女は俺の情報を揃えていた。ミハルが危険だという証拠だろう。
It turns out she had all my information at her disposal. That's proof enough that she's dangerous.
もっとも、俺が彼女を指名すると読んでいたとは考えにくい。オデットが俺と組んでいた時から、俺がいつかミハルを指名すると読んでいたんだろうね。
I doubt she could have known that I would elect her, though. If anything, it was probably Odette who figured I would from when we were allies.
それをミハルに伝えるとは、オデットは考えが読めない。君が情報を揃えて脱落させてくれて、俺は非常に助かっているよ。
I'm surprised she told Miharu, though. Makes me glad that you were able to eliminate her in the end.
もしかして君は罪悪感を覚えているのかい?
Are you feeling bad about it, perhaps?
そんなんじゃねえよ。
Hell no.
そんなんじゃ。
That ain't it.
だがわかんねえだけだ。あいつ、俺を守ってたんだ。あいつは死にかけの俺をかばって死んだ。
I'm just confused, is all. She gave her own life to save me when I was dying. I think Odette regards her crew as her own children, so therefore she will do anything it takes to save her crew.
あいつだけなら逃げられた。ああ、生き延びられたに違いねえ。それにあいつは俺の情報を揃えてたんだ。あいつの所持カードの中に俺のカードが3枚あった。
Knowing her, she could have escaped alive. What's more, she had all my info as well. I saw 3 of my cards after eliminating her.
なんだよ。わかんねえんだよ。
I just don't get it, man. Both her thought process and this frustration I felt are a mystery to me. I'm the one who won the end, but it doesn't feel that way.
やはり君は
As I suspected, you...
俺はよ。あいつとは組んでて楽しかったんだ。
Listen,
それは間違いない。
I ain't gonna deny that I enjoyed the time I spent running around with her.
だが振り返ってみると。
Oh god. And when I think back on it all, teaming up with you has been boring. Everything he says and does is weird and lies. He drinks with me, but it's easy to tell he's making sure he doesn't get drunk. Can't even compete with him like that. There's nothing wrong with that if we're just cooperating to fulfill our own goals. That makes things simple then. Odette was my buddy. This guy ain't anything close to that. Making myself sick with all these sentimental feelings.
それは俺たちの協力関係もここで終わりにしたいと取っていいのかな
Should I take that as a suggestion that we call off our alliance?
好きにしてくれ。
Whatever. I don't care.
アラン・スコーピオンはどうする
How did you plan on dealing with Alan?
どうにかするさ。大体あんた、そもそも俺の未練もずっと探ってたろ。その様子だと、まだ見つけてはいないようだがな。
I'll figure something out. Besides, you've been trying to figure out my regrets for a while now, haven't you? Looks like you still haven't managed to, judging by your attitude.
楽しくなかったということについて俺も同感だ。君は大して役に立たなかったしね。
I agree that this wasn't a very exciting alliance, especially with how useless you were. Whatever. So long. Scale slams some money onto the counter before leaving. I'm not sure he'll ever come back, but I'm sure I truly am on my own now. Then again, I was probably alone the moment I considered stabbing Odette in the back. Miharu and Scale never needed me, nor did they ever want to get close to me. I spent a while longer drinking alone. I don't talk to a single person. I'm not even thinking about anything now that I'm drunk. I'm just wallowing in my own misery, or so I think.
酒というのはうまいのか
Is that alcohol you seem to love so much any good? A distressing voice drags me back to reality.
本当。
Oh,
あ
yeah.
んたの国じゃ酒は禁止なんだっけか。
You aren't allowed to drink from where you are, aren't you?
建前ではな。もっとも僕は宗教も捨てている。年齢が年齢なのでね。飲む機会に恵まれなかっただけだ。
Technically, but I've cast aside my religious beliefs. I just haven't had the opportunity to drink by nature of my age.
そういやてめえもガキだったな。
Look, he may be a punk kid, Federico, but do not underestimate Alan Scorpion.
君に用事があってきた。選定の期間中にもかかわらず、その泥酔具合は気を抜きすぎではないのか。
I am here for a reason, you know. Are you sure you have the luxury of getting this drunk during divine selection? Alan ignores my statement and poses his own question. This is the first time we've had a face-to-face conversation now I think about it, but it doesn't feel that way since I see him in the dream world so often. He's got the face of a straight-laced businessman, but his physique runs in total contrast to that. Yep, he's just as annoying here as he is there.
4度目の選定の時のこと忘れてないぜ。
Don't think I've forgotten about what you said during the fourth election.
君がまだ脱落していない以上、僕も君のことは覚えている。もっとも愚かだと君に言ったことを訂正する必要はなさそうだが。
I like Alan. I also like Odette. I despise Scale though. Worry not, you've etched yourself into my memories for surviving this long. Of course, I see no need to take back my comments regarding your foolishness.
悪いがそいつについては間違ってねえかもな。
Oh yeah. Sorry to say I might actually agree with you now.
何？
He might be trying to provoke me, so my response must have surprised him a bit. I've just now noticed that he's got a few cuts and bruises on him.
その様子じゃ、オデットのやつと戦ってな。あいつはあんたと戦いたがってた。俺に指名されると分かったから、そんなことをしてたってわけか。
Guess you and Odette went at it, huh? She'd be dying to fight you, so I guess she went ahead with it after figuring out that I'd elect her.
ああ、
Correct.
どっちが勝ったんだ？
So who won? I even surprised myself a bit with that question. I never would have asked if I had not considered the possibility that even a monster like her could lose to this guy.
どちらが勝ったか定かではない。だが少なくとも長く経っていたのは 僕の方か。
The results were hardly clear, but I was apparently able to barely outlast her.
そうか。あいつはさぞかし
That's so.
喜んだだろうね。
She must have been real happy then. No doubt she considered him the winner if he outlasted her. She simply likes that. But it makes me jealous. He made Odette admit defeat through his own ability.
そりゃさぞかし楽しんでいただろうよ。あんたから見て、あの女は強かったかい？
Must have been a hell of a fight. I'm curious to know, how strong was she from your perspective? Alan takes a minute to respond.
人生で出会った中で2番目。そうだな。単純な殴り合いなら1番だ。
The second strongest of those I've met thus far, I'd say. First, if we judge purely on her penchant to beat someone senseless.
上がいるとは驚きだ。あいつより強いっていうと、
I
侍
think...
か忍者か。
I think you're referring to Rinka. Damn, you'd actually put someone above her? Must be a samurai assassin or something.
そんな大層な
Ah,
ものではない
family. Not quite, just family.
トンチじゃない。あんたも変わっちまった口かよ。この選定で自分と向き合って。
Wasn't looking for a serious response. Guess you're a part of a crew who's changed thanks to this whole situation. Same for you, Frederica.
変わってなどいない。戻っただけさ。
Ah, so you changed from what you were to your old self. Not quite. I've simply reverted to my old self.
そうかい。
That's so. Downing the rest of my drink, I leave a crumbled up 10,000 yen bill on the counter and tell the bartender it'll cover the impending repair costs.
あんたの用事ってのは分かってる。俺をぶったたいて誇りを出しに来たんだろ。
I know what you're here for. You want to rough me up and find out something valuable, right?
ああ、
Correct.
俺としても都合がいい。あんたに勝てば、オデットに勝ったことになるわけだ。
Fine with me. If I manage to take you down, then that means I've technically surpassed Odette as well.
ずいぶん気にかけているな。オデット・マランソンのこと。
Yeah, she certainly seems to preoccupy your mind.
あれでも、命の恩人らしいからな。
Fate made it just so I owe her my life.
どういう意味だ。
Come again?
俺に勝ったら教えてやるよ。
Don't worry, I'll fill you in if you can beat me. It's not often that I roll my sleeves up before a fight. I ain't some pushover who can move well when they're drunk either. More importantly, I've got the height advantage. This guy's built like a tank, but I can't see myself losing. I bet Federico would be... Oh, damn it, he wrecked me. Just seeing the clothing on him just makes me realise that you didn't stand a chance. Oh, damn it, he wrecked me. I'll make my way back to the hotel in tatters. I've been staying at this place for a while now. None of the staff want to bother with me, all things considered. Can hardly blame them. I knew he was a beast, but that doesn't make losing any less frustrating. He beat me so soundly that I can't even... something might weigh out of it. One punch to the gut followed by one to my right cheek. That's all it took to knock me over a bunch of glasses and bottles before passing out. Alan dragged me outside afterwards and I was officially expelled from the bar. Pretty upsetting because they had good booze there. Sure does hurt. I try my best to laugh the way she did, but it leaves me feeling empty. Alan didn't beat me senseless for fun. He got what he came for while he was at it, all because I was stupid enough to hold on to something dear to me. Fitting for a loser like me, though. I pull out the very object that may symbolise just how stupid I am, a ring ever so important to me. Guess he has some compassion considering he didn't steal it from me. Then again, he probably got a photographic memory of when it comes to jewels thanks to his job. The scenery outside my room's window is far too bright for a dimwit like me. I collapsed onto my bed after taking a shower and then I fell asleep almost immediately. Even before that I just knew that Federico just did not stand a chance. Recalling the events that followed his victory over Frederico, Alan mumbles to himself as he walks.
指輪か
A ring of all things. Having dragged Frederico out of a bar, Alan proceeds to look through his belongings. Neither his wallet nor phone had any valuable information. His credit card may have been useful at one point, but Alan already knew Frederico's name. He did make sure to jot down his contact details just in case. Just as he was ready to give up, he noticed Frederico holding something tight in his hand. He must have grabbed onto it right before passing out, which meant it was something dear to him. He pried Frederico's hand open and picked out a small ring. While modest, it did have a diamond encrusted in it. Alan could tell at a glance that it was real thanks to his line of work. The ring itself was simple, but the mount was well adorned. There was initials engraved inside too.
多少古そうだが手入れをされている、この衣装は婚約指輪だろうか
A bit odd, a bit old, but well taken care of. Based on the design, I assume it's an engagement ring. Alan committed the ring to memory. Took a few pictures just in case, and then placed the ring back in Frederico's hand. He ponders a number of things as he continues to walk. Researching Frederico's ring will be likely lead Alan to his regret. It's only a matter of time before Frederico's elimination then. Alan figures that the same applies to Scale too. Of course, Alan does not consider people who are all talk of threat in the first place.
フェデリーコ・カルミナーティも、その類の人間だと思っていたがな
Which was exactly how I felt about Federico Carmanti at first. Alan's evaluation of Federico has changed significantly now. As such, he will not hesitate when the time comes to eliminate him. The issue lies beyond that point. Rinka and her friend, Miharu.
一人しか残れないというのは残酷なものだ
It truly is cruel that only one can survive this. Alan states the obvious as he smiles to himself. Not from some sense of inner peace, but from his expectations. My prediction is that Federico and Scale will be knocked out first, leaving Alan, Miharu and Rinka as the final three, but Rinka and Miharu will elect Alan at the same time, rendering him useless. Miharu, Naomi and myself gather at Lion House after school, just as we arranged.
悪いね、わざわざ店を閉めてもらって
Sorry for making you close up shop early.
大丈夫。もともと利益を出すためのお店じゃないし、常連さんもみんなわかってるからさ。
No worries, not like we run the place to make a profit anyway. All the regulars are fine with it too. We have important things to discuss today. Things we'd rather not have other people hear. Things regarding the secret behind divine selection that Miharu has kept bottled up. Just as we drop our bags and move to our usual seat, the door opens. It's Scale.
ごめんなさい。
We're actually closed right now. It takes a moment to recognize who it was due to the light shining and seeing his face. He's already inside by the time I figure who he is.
あなたは
You're...
写真では見ていたけれどいい雰囲気のお店じゃないか
This place looks even nicer than it does in the photos, huh? Numero 9. Scale Jones is standing right in front of me. Not only is this the first time we've met in the real world, it's also the first time we've spoken.
なぜ君が
Why are you here? Miharu glares at it. It's clear that she's wary of him. Naomi tries to stand, but I gesture for her to stay seated.
疑問に思うこともないだろうミハルが俺の指名を防御したのならば俺の情報は凛花獅子舞にも知られていると思うべきだ
This shouldn't come as a surprise, should it? It's only natural to assume that Shishimai Rinka would have my information if Miharu was able to protect herself from my election.
だとすれば俺は次の選定で脱落してしまうしかしまだアランとフェデリーコが残っているんだ
Maybe you
彼らを
should
そのまま
leave
にして
Scale.
俺が脱落するわけにはいかない
Following that logic, I'll be eliminated next. Thing is, I cannot allow that to happen while Alan and Federico still remain.
俺は正義のもとに行動しているんだ
No, you're not. You're a traitor to yourself, Scale. I'm working under a just cause, after all.
ならなぜミハルを指名したんですか。ミハルとあなたは協力していたんでしょう。
Might explain why you tried to eliminate Miharu then? Why would you do that to someone you're allied with? No pleasantries are required between participants meeting for the first time. All that matters is gaining the upper hand.
君はオデット・マランソンとの協力が疑われたからね。その点については俺の早とちりではあった。謝罪しよう。
I suspected you were working with Odette, though that seems to have been my mistake. For that I apologize. His answer was clear and concise to the point of being suspicious. It almost sounds like a canned response he practiced beforehand in anticipation for being asked that very question. He can't be trusted. I figured as much based on what I heard from Miharu, but meeting him in person only confirms it.
ごたくはいいだろう。君のことだ。リンカに指名されないための取引をしに来たのだろう。
Spare us the nonsense and get to the point. You're here to cut us a deal so that Rinka won't elect you, right?
もしそうだったら早く話してください。
If that's the case, please get on with it.
先輩、そこはそうじゃなくて。
I'm fairly certain you should try to make him leave.
君がすでになかったことになったアメ茶女子高校爆破テロ事件の被害者だね。無事助けられたことは聞いていたが、元気そうで
How
何
do you know that scale? You must be the victim of that terrorist attack at a matcha before it was undone. Glad to see you're doing well.
ナオミに
Don't you dare. Hahaha.
落ち着いてくれお嬢ちゃん。別にこれからこの子をどうしようという気はないよ。今
Calm down. I have no intention of doing anything to her for now at least.
ミハルの言う通り、俺は取引をしに来た。取引というか、約束と言い換えてもいい。
Just as Miharu said, I'm here to make a deal with you. A promise, if you will. Really now. I made sure to keep my guard up as he continues.
アラン・フェデリーコを脱落させた後に残るのは俺たち3人だ。その3人が生き残れるかもしれない方法を持ってきた。
Us three will be the only ones left after Alan and Frederica are eliminated. I might know of a way for all three of us to survive given that scenario. He looks as serious as can be. Around 30 seconds of silence follows when I realise he's suggesting the same idea that Miharu shot down this morning, but I don't know how to reply. Miharu is warned to break the silence with an overdramatic sigh.
追い詰められて思いついたのがその手段か。おおよそ正義らしい平和的な解決方法ではあるけれど成立しない。
That's the best you could come up with now that your back's against the wall, huh? You're hoping for a peaceful resolution here? But that unfortunately, that method won't work.
俺たち3人がお互いに指名し、防御し合う。そうすれば誰も指名することはできなくなる。
If all three of us elect and subsequently protect ourselves, we'll be left with no one able to elect another.
だからその方法は成立しないんだ。いいだろう。これから話すつもりだったことさ。僕の秘密を教えよう。ただし、聞いたら僕たちに干渉せず、お引き取り願おう。
I just said it won't work, but fine. I'll fill you in on the secret I was about to reveal, but you have to go away after that.
ミハル先輩。
Miharu?
わかった。ここで俺はそう答えるしかないね。
Doesn't seem like I have any choice but to agree. Surprisingly enough, he goes along with it. Scale makes his way into my cafe so he can hear me out. Hear her out.
リンカ、今朝した約束を覚えているね。
Rinka, you remember your promise from this morning, right? I could tell how serious she is from the expression. She made me promise not to hate her after hearing whatever this could be. My mindset hasn't changed, so I nod my head firmly.
女神の選定。これが一体何を選ぶための儀式なのか。君たちも一度は考えたことがあるだろう。
This entire ritual is called divine selection, so I assume you've taken the time to consider what exactly is being selected, correct? Everything starts with this question. The ritual of divine selection is one that changes fate itself. It is the sole method by which one can escape their death. That's what Parser told us. What purpose is being carried out through the ritual, though? She never said anything about that. I never even thought why, considering I was so preoccupied with ensuring my and Miharu's survival. I have my own suspicions about the whole thing, but they only ever led me to more questions.
女神の選定において、僕たちの死の運命が変わることは過程に過ぎない。この残酷な儀式で選ばれるもの。それは女神の器さ。
Gosh. Escaping death is merely a coincidence, or circumstance of this entire ritual. Its true purpose is to develop a suitable vessel for the goddess. Miharu goes on to explain what she means. Apparently, Parser can't remain in the Court of Fates beyond the 12-week span that encompasses divine selection. To be more accurate, the Court of Fates can only be maintained for 12 weeks. Thus, Parser cannot remain longer than that. I'm not too sure about the logistics, but basically, she needs us in order to keep living.
器といっても物理的なものではない。僕たちそれぞれが持つ夢。夢
I
の世
said
界。
vessel.
そこが女神の居場所になる。
I said vessel, but it's not like our bodies are what becomes vessels or anything. It's our dreams, and the worlds born from them in which she resides. The dream world. According to Miharu, the dreams we have are all part of the dream world.
女神によれば、夢というのはあったかもしれない可能性の墓場であり、一方で誰もが持つ形而上の世界だそうだ。
Parser claimed that dreams serve as headstones in a graveyard of possibilities that we once had, but also as part of our individual metaphysical worlds. Parser exists in a plane above ours, thus lies within our metaphysical worlds. Or something like that. Can't say I understand what any of it means. The metaphysical word refers to something without form, as a philosophical concept. It represents experiences that exist beyond our perception of space and time. So basically, it borders on the supernatural. Parser herself said that we couldn't be cognizant to such a conceptual world without some part of her work. That's why the Court of Fate was created. By linking our dreams into one shared space, we've thus become cognizant of it. So what is Parser then?
さあ、それはわからない。少なくとも人間ではないことだけは確かだろうけれど。そして神というのなら、それこそ僕たちが認識できる範疇にはないね。
I'm afraid I don't know that much. What I do know is she's undoubtedly not human, and that her existence is far beyond our comprehension if she truly is a deity.
じゃあ女神の選定っていうのは女神様が住む体を探すための
Gosh.
システムみたいなものってことですか？
So divine selection is basically a system put in place to find a body for a Parser to live in? Miharu nods in response to Naomi's question.
なんで12人もの人が争うような。
Why must 12 people compete against each other then?
でも最後の一人が生き残ることができる。これは本当ってこと？
It's to the fact that whoever makes it through to the end gets to live, right?
ああ。一方でこのことが僕が君たちの言うみんなが生き残れる方法を否定した根拠でもある。
Yep, that's one of the reasons why I said this method won't work though. Just as I'm about to ask more questions, Scale butts in. It's the first time he's spoken up since Miharu began her explanation.
君たちも思っていただろう。ミハル、なぜ君はそんなことを知っている？君が聡明だからといって、まさか全て予想とは言わないだろう。
I can't believe you're not wondering how you would know all this, Miharu. Brilliant as your mind may be, I find it difficult to imagine this all stems from mere conjecture. This question is one that I, and most likely Naomi, are curious about.
簡単な話さ。僕
What?
は女神の選定の生き残り。そして今回の女神の選定が始まるまで女神の器だったということだよ。
So I think this is the part that Miharu warned about Rinka not hating her. It's simple, really. I just so happen to be the survivor of a previous divine selection, as well as the goddess's vessel up until this round began.
僕はこたびの選定が始まるまで夢の中で女神パルカと対話することができた。
I was able to speak with Parser herself within my dreams until this point.
ちょっと対話ってどういうこと？それに前回の選定ってそもそも前回っていうのがあって、それで
Yeah, that's why Miharu knows so much about this. The amount she knew at the beginning was somewhat suspicious. Hold up, You were able to speak with her? And you're a survivor of a previous divine selection? Which means this isn't the first one. Rinka, calm down. Let's take this one step at a time. Scale seems awfully composed in the face of our surprise.
なるほど、そういうことか。女神の選定が突然行われるのもおかしいと思っていた。これは継続的に行われている儀式なんだね。
Well, that explains things. I did find it odd that something like this could happen out of the blue, so it makes sense for it to be a scheduled occurrence.
前回の選定、それは何年前の話なんだい？
How many years ago was this, if you don't mind me asking?
残念ながら僕が覚えていないほど昔の話さ。まだ1歳にもなっていない頃のね。
Long enough ago that I don't remember. I'm afraid I haven't even turned 1.
そんなに小さな君が生き残れたと。誰か協力者でもいたのかい？
And you managed to survive despite that? Did you have someone helping you along the way?
この話は終わりだよ。これ以上僕に話せることはない。2人以上が生き残ってしまえば女神の器を選ぶという儀式の目的がおかしくなってしまう。
I've said
それ
enough
で十分
already.
だろう。
Knowing that the system itself would be compromised if 2 or more people survive is plenty, isn't it?
十分なはずはないが、それは俺との対話を打ち切るということだね。仕方
Not
がない。
really.
この話を聞けただけでもよしとしよう。
Not really, but I can tell that you want to kill this conversation here. I'll settle for what you've told me for now. It's odd, really. He knows I'm going to elect him, but he never tried to make me reconsider. It's like he isn't worried in the slightest. That realization is enough to shift the surprise away from what Miharu has just revealed.
これ以上長居しても新しい情報は得られなさそうだ。ここは退散させてもらおう。
I doubt I'll get anything worthwhile by staying, so allow me to take my leave now. With that, he makes his way out of Linehouse without a care in the world. Gruesome man. Soon after, the 3 of us end up at our usual table. That's all though. We just sat there in silence. I figure nothing will change if I don't speak up. That prompts me to work up the courage to say something.
ミハルはさ、初めから2人で生き残る気はなかったの？
Tell me, Miharu, did you have any intention of making it through this together with me in the first place? She draws her eyes away from me. I take a bit to think before I continue.
ごめん。意地悪な質問だったね。
Sorry. That was a cruel way to put it.
ミハルと私が最後の2人になった時、やっぱりミハルは私にその一席を譲ってくれるつもりだったんだよね。
You were planning to give yourself up for me after all, weren't you?
ミハルは防御をしない。
We'd
そういう
elect
ことでしょ。
We'd elect one another, but you wouldn't protect yourself in the end. That was your plan, right? She'd let herself get eliminated and leave me as the sole survivor. I'd become the vessel of the goddess of whatever. Or whatever. But in exchange, Thad let me escape my death.
あの男が多くを聞かずに帰っていったわけは、僕の話した内容からおおよそ君も気づいているだろう。この選定が始まったのは僕の死がきっかけだということに。
You realize why Scale left the way he did based on what I've told you, right? My death is what kicked this round of divine selection off in the first place. I failed to find any words to reply with after her explanation. Instead, Naomi speaks up.
女神の器に選ばれた人が命を落とした時、次の選定が始まる。
Yes.
つまり今回の選定は今の器であるミハル先輩が命を落としたから始まった。そういうことですか？
So the death of a current vessel is what triggers a new round of divine selection. In other words, your death created this one, correct?
ああ、そうさ。僕の死因は君たちも知っている通りだ。リンカのような事故とは違う。自らの意志で始め、最も大切な人を苦しめてしまった。
Yeah, exactly. You two knew my cause of death too. It was no accident. I went through with it on my own, hurting the person dearest to me in the process. While I know the cause and am in possession of the card, I don't know the details behind it. I couldn't bring myself to ask her before either, mainly because I felt it had no relevance to the divine selection. The last thing I want is to force her to talk about something like that. There's one thing I know for certain though.
違うよ。いつだって美晴は心から死にたいって思ってたわけじゃない。
There's another
だから
thing. You didn't always wish death upon yourself though. That's why.
いいんだリンカ。君の持っているカードが結果であり、すべてさ。
There's no need to cover for me. The cards you hold and the outcome it represents are all that matter. Yet again, I'm left without a means to respond. She's made it abundantly clear that she doesn't want any form of consolation.
このことを話せば、僕たちが最後の二人になった時に、君はお互いに指名し合うという方法をためらうだろうと思っていた。
I figured that you'd hesitate to let me when the time comes, if you knew about this.
だから話さずにいたのだけれど、これではこれまで黙っていたことの無意味だったようだ。
That's why I've tried to keep it to myself. Although that effort's been for nothing since I've spilled the beans.
無意味なんかじゃないです。だって美晴先輩はそれくらいリンカ先輩が生き残るために考えて。
It wasn't for nothing after all. It couldn't be. Not when you've been thinking so hard about how to ensure Rinka's survival.
君に何がわかるんだい？
And just what would you know about that?
美晴、それは
Chill, Miharu.
いいんです。私が出しゃばりました。
No, she's right. I was out of line.
リンカに嘘をつき、羊さんに八つ当たり。
Here I am,
最低だな。
lying to Rinka and lashing out at Naomi. I really am the worst. Miharu derides herself before standing up. I shoot up immediately after that, although it takes me a little longer to find the right words to refute her.
違うよ美晴。そんなんじゃ。
That's not true. Don't beat yourself up over this.
帰って頭を冷やすさ。それでいいだろう。
I'm going to go home so I can cool my head. You don't mind, do you?
先輩。
Miharu?
もう一度君を騙すのはできないかもしれない。
I don't have it in me to lie to you again. Miharu takes her leave, refusing to look back even when we attempt to stop her. I notice her biting her lip as she is leaving too. She is doing everything she can to hold something back. With Miharu gone, Naomi and I sat down facing one another. It pains me to know that I'm the one responsible for making Miharu feel the way she does. It was for my sake, and she never mentioned anything about becoming a vessel. My survival means so much to her that she's willing to lie to me. She's been dealing with far more than I could have ever imagined.
美晴先輩。大丈夫でしょうか。
I hope she'll be alright.
時間を置けば大丈夫だとは思う。でも私の責任だ。私がスケールさんの言葉に傾いたから、美晴はそれが不可能だと伝えるために。
I think she'll be fine. Given time, it's all my fault for letting Scale influence me though. It basically forced her to prove him wrong.
リンカ先輩のせいじゃないです。私の。
Don't blame yourself. If anything, I should be the one doing that, right?
ナオミのせいでもない。美晴が一番辛いはずなのに、私たちがこんな風に慰め合うのはずるいね。先にそれを言ったのは私。ごめんね。
It's not your fault either. We shouldn't sit here feeling sorry for ourselves when Miharu's hurting the most though. Sorry for starting the cycle in the first place.
そうですね。あんな秘密を抱えていて平気だったわけないですもんね。
Yeah. There's no way she'd be fine with dealing with a secret like that.
女神の選定の秘密。美晴は初めから自分が生きる可能性すら思っていなかったんだ。
Miharu never even considered the possibility of her own survival, judging by what she said.
いよいよ私 わかりませんね。女神様って女神の選定って一体何なんでしょうね。
I feel even more confused about both Parser and Divine Selection now.
女神と対話していたって言ってましたよね。だとすればリンカ先輩の運命をミハル先輩は知っていたんでしょうか。
Mahalo said she was able to converse with Parser, right? Does that mean she knew what fate awaited you?
うん、それはないと思う。だって夢の世界で初めて私と会った時のミハルは心底驚いていたから。
I doubt it. She looks genuinely shocked when she first saw me in a dream world.
そう思うとさ、女神の選定がなかったなら私は命を落としたままだったんだね。
When you think of it that way, if it weren't for Divine Selection, I'd be dead right now. Plain and simple. It's also thanks to Divine Selection that the terrorist attack on that day was undone at all.
死の運命って受け入れるべきものなのかな。
Don't think like that, Rinka. Maybe it'd been best if I accepted my fate.
嫌です。
No, it wouldn't have. Naomi speaks up with a quivering voice.
先輩と出会うこと、先輩が私を助けて死んでしまうこと、私が殺されてしまうこと、先輩に助けてもらうこと。
Meeting you and being saved by you in exchange for your own life. Losing my life only to be saved by you again.
コーヒーの入れ方を教えてもらうこと、文化祭で模擬店を出すこと、ミハル先輩と喧嘩すること、ミハル先輩のことを知ることができたこと。
Being taught how to brew coffee. Setting up our culture festival store. Arguing with Miharu only to learn more about her by doing so.
全部が決まってるっていうなら、私、運命なんて大嫌いです。
If it was all predetermined, then I can safely say that I hate fate and everything it stands for.
ナオミ。
Naomi.
それに、先輩たちがもしいなくなってしまったら、女神の選定の期間中のことを
Besides,
私は忘れてしまいます。
I'd forget everything that happened during Divine Selection if anything were to happen to you.
それも運命で決まっているなんて思いたくないです。だって先輩たちとの思い出は私の大切な。
I don't want to believe fate has a saying that. My memories of you are too precious for that to be the case.
ごめんなさい。辛いのは私じゃなくて先輩たちの方なのに。
Sorry. I know this is far worse for you two than it is for me.
ありがとう、ナオミ。そう言ってくれるから私はまだ諦めずにいられる。
Thanks, Naomi. That's precisely why I won't allow myself to give in. I don't want everything to be undone. My encounters, my accomplishments, I don't want any of it to be for naught. That being the case, I have no choice but to live alongside Miharu.
ミハルの話は残るのが一人でなくてはならないって根拠にはなってない。
There's no real basis to Miharu's claim that there can only be one
そ
survivor.
れぞれが指名を防御して誰も指名することができなくなった場合のことを女神はその時が来たら話すと言ったんだ。
Parser herself said she'd explain what would happen should two or more remain, if that's what comes to pass. I can't recall if I explained this to her before, so I'll make sure to go over it again just in case.
ダメ元でやってみるってことですか。
So you're going to try it and see how things go?
それしかないならそうしよう。スケールさんともう一度話してみようと思うんだ。
Yep, if that's the only option then I might as well. I'll probably talk to Scale again too.
先輩は先輩ですごく安心しました。
It's a relief to see you acting like your usual self. Naomi makes her way home after our chat in order to get back before it's too late. We're already coming up to the end of June, so the daylight lasts longer now. It's still nice and bright outside despite being past 6 o'clock, sorry. Seeing her off also helps me to reaffirm something important. There were meaning behind us meeting. I mean, it's 20 to 10 where I am right now, and it's just getting dark. I opened up a cafe sometime after 7. I felt pretty bad about it, considering I saw a number of regulars pass by while getting the place ready. It's hard to call this place everyone's second home with my schedule, but I just don't have it in me to completely close shop. I'm willing to admit that this might not be the best approach, but so long as my gran gives me the okay, I want to ensure that the store remains open as much as possible. And bedtime.
なんかすっかり疲れるのにも慣れちゃったな。
Feels like I've gotten used to being exhausted now. That's the first thought to enter my head when I lie down after taking a shower. Miharu. My mind jumps to Miharu immediately after, however. More specifically, that expression of hers as she left. Should we leave things? Or leave her be? Nah.
やっぱり放っておけないよ。
Yeah, I can't just sit here after seeing that. She may be staying with family, but she's still alone in a way. No one in her home is truly there for her. She might be beating herself up as I sit here and think. I'd much rather hear her voice right now, so I opt to call her rather than text her. She answers before the first ring ends. Wow. That quickly? Miharu says she wants to see me the moment she picks up the phone. We decided to meet by Sojoji Temple, the very same place we brought Sophia. Tokyo Tower shines as brightly as ever. I'm not sure why she chose this place, but there's no denying that pleasant scenery can cleanse the heart. This place definitely fits the bill.
お待たせリンカ。すまないね。こんな遅くに。
Sorry to make you wait, Rinka. Not to mention asking you out at this time of night.
気にしないで。私もさ、ミハルが心配だったから。
It's fine. I was worried about you, so I'd much rather talk to you face to face. Miharu is wearing casual attire, much like me. Chances are we'd be stopped by the police if we were out in our school uniforms at this hour. Granted, one could easily assume that we were delinquents, being out this late with no proper excuse.
昼間のことも感情的になってすまないと思っているよ。羊さんにも悪いことをした。
I regret letting my emotions get the better of me earlier, especially what I said to Naomi.
それも気にしなくていい。ナオミだって分かってるから。
You don't need to worry about that. Naomi doesn't hold it against you.
ありがとう、リンカ。
Thanks, Rinka. Miharu stares into my eyes as she whispers my name. I feel a strange relief knowing that she's here with me. It's proof that we're both still alive.
僕が前回の女神の選定の生き残りであり、女神の器であることまでは話したね。
I only told you both about being the survivor of the previous divine selection and the goddess's vessel, right?
それだけではなく、どうしても話しておかなければいけないことがあるんだ。
There's more I need to tell you, though.
僕が女神パルカとの対話の中で聞かされたことだ。
It's what Pastor said during our conversations.
前回の女神の選定は17年前の7月23日から開始された。
What the hell is
僕だ
that?
けではなく、君の両親もまたその参加者だった。
The previous divine selection was held 17 years ago. Beginning July 23rd, not only was I a participant, but your parents were as well.
私の両親が。
What? Both of my parents were participants? I barely know anything about my parents, and it turns out that they were participants in divine selection much like myself? I'd say it was surprising, but I'm more concerned about how we processed this revelation in the first place.
ちょっとだけ待ってね。私のお父さんとお母さんが女神の選定の参加者で。
But hold on a
でも
minute.
ミハルも参加者だったってことで。
Both of my parents were participants along with you? But that doesn't add up. Miharu's birthday is later in the year, December 12th to be precise. Noticing my confusion, Miharu goes on to clarify.
僕は中学生の時に1年間休学しているのさ。だから年齢で言えば、リンカやマオより一つ上なんだ。
That's a logical explanation. There was a gap year that she took. That's a confusion there. I actually took a year off while in middle school, so that makes me a year older than you and Mao.
ミハルって年上だったの？ごめん。混乱して何が何だか。
What? You're older than us? Sorry, I'm having trouble processing all of this. I do my best to organize my thoughts really quick. Both of my parents were divine selection participants in the past. Miharu was a participant there as well, but it turns out she's 1 year older than me. That would make her 7 months old at that time. Following that out of line, I come to a certain revelation.
私、選定の期間中に生まれてる。
So, I was born during the previous divine selection.
そういうことになる。僕にとって世界で最も尊い日の一つ。君の誕生日。7月27日は前回の選定が始まってから訪れている。
That's right, July 27th. Your birthday and the most precious day of the year to me came around after after divine selection started.
でも、因果の時が7月23日ならさ、私の両親は私を産む前に亡くなっている。あれ？どうして私は生まれているの？
If July 23rd was a junta causality, that'd mean my parents died before I was born? So how was I even born in the first place?
命はどこから命だとカウントする？僕にもわからない。けれど、母親の体内の輪郭が命であり、選定の参加者でなければ、命がなかったことになるのはおかしいということなのかもしれない。
At what point is someone considered a living being? I don't have the answer, but if you are considered alive while still in the womb, then it makes sense that you used to survive. Some believe life begins the moment Others believe that it begins the moment you're born into the world. Maybe it depends on when the mother considers her child to be alive. Basically, July 23rd was the day my parents would die, but not me? That must be why I was able to survive a fire and being born during divine selection.
だとすると、おばあちゃんが私を見つけたのは7月23日だよね。なんでおばあちゃんは27日が私の誕生日だって教えてくれたんだろう。
That means my gran found me on July the 23rd, right? Why would she say my birthday is on the 27th? My name's become something of a mystery too. Rinka. She said it was my mum who named me, and that she did so after my birth. The process of overwriting people's memories is imperfect, but is that enough to justify this?
羊さんは改変された記憶を夢で見たと言っていただろう。同じような現象があったのかもしれない。どちらも現実であり、君のおばあ様は自分にとって重要な夢を選んだ。
Naomi mentioned that she saw visions of what was undone in her dreams, right? The same might apply here. Both are reality, but your grandmother opted to believe the most important one to her.
おばあちゃんは私の名前はお母さんがくれたんだよって確信を持って教えてくれてた。
Yeah.
なんてしてなかったと思う。
She seemed positive when she told me that it was my mum who gave me my name. I doubt she even questioned whether that was true or not.
それで十分ではないかい。理由のつかないことは理由のつかないままでもいいと思う。女神も詳細は語らないからね。
And that's good enough, isn't it? Sometimes you don't need a reason to hold back your beliefs. Past has done a good job of not explaining everything too. It will take far too long for me to fully accept all these new revelations. Miharu looks as though she has more to say as well, so I should focus on hearing her out for now. Still, there's something I want to ask her before letting her continue.
前回の選定の時、ミハルはまだ赤ちゃんだったんだよね。それなのに、どうやって最後の一人になったの？
You were just a baby during the previous divine selection, right? Did you mind if I ask how you were able to survive?
選定の参加者の中に もし赤ん坊がいたら君ならどうする？
Well, as a baby, you wouldn't have a regret because you simply wouldn't process that thought of having a regret in the first place. Because at that few months old, you wouldn't be able to process what the word regret even means. What would you do if there was a baby of monster participants? It basically answers itself. There's no doubt that I'd do anything in my power to protect that baby. At the very least, I wouldn't be able to convince myself to gather information, let alone elect it.
私の両親がミハルを助けたんだね。
My parents helped you, didn't they?
もう一人幼すぎる僕を見捨てられなかった人がいるらしい。メガニ曰く
Whoa.
君の両親とその一人の3人で12回目の選定まで僕を守り、
Apparently,
3人が同時に指名し合って脱落したそうだ。
apparently, there were another amongst them. Pastor said that those three protected me all the way to the end and then elected one another.
スケール・ジョーンズは協力者がいたことに気づいていたようだけれど、それが君の両親とまでは思い至らないだろう。
Scale seems to have figured out that someone helped me, but I doubt he knows it was your parents. With 4 people left, 3 were eliminated. That left Miharu as the sole survivor and thus the winner. I understand all too well why they made that choice. If there's anything that would prove my relation to my parents, it'd be this.
だからこそ、仮にソフィアが実際ほど聡明ではなく、オデットたちとも会っていなかったらと思うと、僕は怖かった。君の両親が僕にしたことと同じことをするのではないかとね。
That's why I was scared when you first came to me about Sophia. I thought you'd do the same for her that your parents did for me, but her foresight and meeting with Odette prevented that. Sophia was wise beyond her years. She knew that she wouldn't live long, even if she did survive, due to her illness. She understood the reason why Odette threatened her too. What if she was just your average kid though? As Miharu said, I might have given my own life to save her. Of course, we're talking about things that aren't possible anymore.
もしかしてミハルが私のためにってずっと言ってくれていたのは私の両親のことがあったからなの？
Did my parents' actions play a part in your desire to keep doing things for my sake then? I asked this without a second thought. Her claim that she would give her life for me might be her way of making things up to my parents. Miharu wasted no time in replying. The tone of her voice is far more tense than normal.
違う、リンカ。それは全くもって違う。僕は君に嫌われることよりも、そう勘違いされることを恐れていた。
No, Rinka. In fact, that misunderstanding is one thing I feared more than you coming to hate me after I had revealed all of this. Wow, really? Ooh.
どういうこと？
How so?
君はどうしてそう？
You're as dense as a black hole. She covers her face with one hand, her voice somewhat distressed. I can only assume there's something else she meant to get across.
大丈夫。何を聞いたってミハルのことを嫌いになんてならない。
It's okay.
隠してて辛いなら
Tell me everything.
話して。
I promise things won't change no matter what you say. I approach her, gaze into her eyes she's trying to keep covered behind her right hand. There's about an 8-inch height difference between us, so this is the only way for me to get a proper look at her face. Why
どうしてそんな
are
に？
you so cute? She casts her eyes away and steps back before mumbling the rest of her sentence to herself.
ミハル？
Miharu? Her eyes fall back on me, though she refuses to face me head on. Silence ensues as we stare at one another. The light of the nightscape causes my eyelashes to shimmer.
わかった。僕も心を決めよう。ただし、ちょっと待ってくれ。3回深呼吸をさせてほしい。心の準備をしたいんだ。
Fine. So be it. Just give me a minute to prepare for this, okay? I need a deep breath or 3. Saying that, she really does start to take deep breaths. I guess it's something big if it requires this much courage of her. so I'll make sure to remain quiet until she finishes taking her sixth breath. Rinka. She speaks my name before falling silent again. I won't rush her. This has to be a revelation even more shocking than that of my parents being participants in the previous divine selection.
僕は
I thought that was the case.
君が好きだ。
I heart you.
私もミハルは好きだけど。
Well, I love you too. But while not what I expect at first, it doesn't take too long for me to understand exactly in what way she means her words. Anyway, I answer her right away on reflex. The short time between that and my total comprehension of her words feels like an eternity. We're in a nice place at night with no one else around. She had to find the courage to say what would otherwise be a simple saying between friends. We spent so much time together during divine selection, a matter of life or death, that I figured she just wanted to be more direct for once. And knowing her, I figured she'd say it that way on purpose. But now it all makes sense. She never ever meant it the way I thought she did. I can't blame her, or I can't blame how dense I've been. No matter she make the black hole comment. Oh, she made a black hole comment.
ちょっと待って。私の予想が正しければ、ちょっと私の方が心の準備がだって。
Hold on. Assuming I'm understanding the situation, then I'm the one who isn't ready for this.
私たち女同士だよ。
Does that matter? I mean, we're both girls, you know.
関係ない。僕は散々君にアピールしてきたつもりだよ。獅子舞凛花。僕は君が好きだ。友達としてではない。恋愛の意味で。
That's irrelevant. Perhaps now you realize how hard I've been trying to appeal to you all this time. Let me say it once more. I love you, Rinka. Not as a friend, but as an adult.
君の笑った顔も怒った顔も黒い髪も金の髪も柔らかい肌も身長が低いのも可愛い。決してスタイルが良くないのも可愛い。
I love the expressions you make. I love the golden streaks in your beautiful hair. I love your soft skin. I love that you're short, because it only makes you cuter. Not to mention your complete lack of fashion sense.
優しいところが好きだ。おせっかいなところが好きだ。必死なところが好きだ。危ういところも好きだ。凛花のすべてが僕は好きだ。
I love how kind you are, and how much of a busybody you can be. I love how intense you can be, as well as how reckless. I love absolutely everything about you, Rinka. I've lost the ability to speak. Never before have I been this shocked by something Miharu had to say. She had the advantage while I'm in this state too. She continues to stare at me, her entire face having exploded into a bright shade of red. This is a... oh god. Okay. This is a new sensation for me. I never knew just how much one's heart can flutter when faced with the love of another.
あれ言葉が
I shoot glances all around my surroundings in a panicked search for words. I desperately need help, but there's no one around. I guess that means I need to face the situation all on my own. So, I cut myself off right away. Apologizing now would have meant I'd turned her down. I don't think I'm ready to do that yet. Not while my brain feels ready to burst at any given moment.
私告白とかされたことないからちょっと日本語わかんなくなった。
I've never experienced this kind of thing before, so I think I've lost my ability to communicate effectively.
くせ君はやっぱり可愛いな。選定の参加者と向き合っている時とはまるで別人だ。
You really are adorable, you know that. Hard to believe you can look so fierce when staring down the other participants. I feel my capacity for such diminism by the second as she stares into my eyes. She's completely different from how she was 10 minutes ago. I can't see her as the same Mishima Miharu I knew before. I always thought she was pretty, but the nightscape only serves to escapulate that truth. That being said, I don't.
即答で断られなかっただけで今は十分かな。僕の方がはっきり口にしたからかえってすっきりしたよ。
The fact that you didn't shoot me down right away is plenty for now. I'm feeling pretty relieved now that I got it out.
あ、そう。それはよかった。
Well, that's good. I can feel my breathing becoming more ragged. Miharu's next line yanks me right back to reality though.
返事は僕が死ぬ前に聞かせてほしい。
Eek. Just make sure to give me an answer before I die. I won't avoid it. I'll give her an answer no matter what. It's my turn to show the same resolve that she showed me after all. How I'll go about it has to remain a mystery for now. That's nothing new though. I've faced this kind of obstacles many times before. It's up to me to decide for myself. It's my life after all.
わかった。返事は必ずする。でもね、ちょっと少しそれなりにじっくり
I promise.
させて。
You'll get an answer, no matter what. Just give me some time to think about it through. Please? Miharu nods, a smile on her face. We head home next. While I may have bought myself some time to give her an answer, our walk back is awkward considering we're alone together. Quite. What a startling revelation that was. Can't say I slept particularly well last night. My heart was racing even when I went to bed. Well, sensations like that could be at some point inevitable for all. Or for some. Or for a few. But inevitably, these kind of things cross our minds every so now and then. And you must say to yourself, what is it like to bottle up such feelings for all this time, and then at one moment, you disperse those feelings out towards that one person that you believe will be the shining light for your better tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching, folks, and we shall see each other in the next time of Fatal 12. I still had my thoughts together about the fact that Scale or Frederico will be eliminated next. I hope so as well, because I do like Alan. But I also do like Odette as well, but we know how she ended up. But she's not the reckless, mindless pirate that we once thought she was. Well, she is still, but she does have some empathy, some heart, some soul, and kindnesses too. Like, when she originally went to see, what's her name, Rinka the first time, obviously in the house she punched her, but when it came to the Lion House, she just wanted to talk things out. And that only came about as time progressed when each of the participants knew each other more. But I'm safe to assume, though, that Scale is undoubtedly the most evil character out of all 12. Just because he believes he is the man of justice doesn't mean that he is, or he could be the contrary of his own justice voice. But have a wonderful day, folks, and take care of yourselves.